And we back, ladies and gentlemen, Fight Court. I'm your boy, Dean Thomas, alongside my man, Ryan Quinn. Special guest today, and I love the locks. I love the do. All the way from Houston, we got my man, Yves Edwards, joining us today. Yves, man, what's going on with your boy?
Not much, DT, man. I appreciate the love on the locks, man. I had to bring my island boy life back to my reality. You know what I mean?
Is that what that is? Is it that you're bringing your island boy life back?
No, I kind of wanted. I don't know if you remember. No, actually, it was before I even started fighting. I used to have my hair was about a little bit shorter than this, and then at some point I cut it, and I liked that while I was fighting. Then I retired, and I was like, I want my hair to grow, but I was doing a little bit of TV stuff, and there's that weird interim where your hair is just kind of awkward, and I was like, I don't want to go through that. And then COVID happened. I was like, I just let it go since then.
Good, man. At least you got some hang time too. Yeah. If you ain't had no hang time, I would definitely laugh at you.
Well, I'm trying,
Rashad got it going down. Rashad for a while ain't had no hang time.
Man, Rashad's looking good though. I'm slightly jealous, you know, but I ain't hating.
He put them juices.
Speaking of looks, guys, we got to bring it up. This is living proof that Dean Thomas and Yves Edwards are not the same person. Here we go.
That's another reason why I let the hair grow. You know,
no one.
Yeah, people were confusing me with Yves. I mean, with Dean, I would change something up too, for sure.
Yeah, still, I actually had somebody roll up on me, and they were like, "Hey, man," they called me Dean Thomas, even though my hair was like this. I was like, yeah, man, I'm Dean Thomas. I live right by the beach, boy.
By the beach, boy. No, actually, somebody the other day asked me about the time I had that guy's back and head kicked him. I was like,
yeah,
I don't claim it. No, I used to claim it sometimes, but now, man, I don't claim it no more. I give you your props. I go, man, that was Yves Edwards, man. That was Yves.
Wait, who threw that flying knee off the single leg for Elite XC? Was that Dean?
That was Yves. That was Yves. We did all the cool shit, man.
I remember that.
I did some cool shit. No, go ahead. No,
I was going to ask you, you know, being that you did some cool shit, you know, one of the old timers, but now coaching. I was going to ask you, what do you like better, coaching or fighting?
That's I don't know. I feel like that's such a detailed question, right? Because when I was competing, I liked fighting much better. But now that I'm coaching, there's a lot of times when I look out there and I'm just like, I'm kind of glad I'm not doing that. Like, that's crazy, bro. How are you going in there and letting that dude elbow you in the face? You know? How are you going in there taking the risk that this dude is going to elbow you in the face and split you wide open? That's like, who would do some shit like this? This don't make any sense. But like, there's also sometimes, I mean, you know, I still train, so I watch. There's some fights I watch, and I'm like, man, you are so lucky I am not in my early 30s. But like, there's also some guys, and I'm just like, yeah, man, I just turned 48. I'm good.
You know, I think that I don't know if it's age or fatherhood, but like, I got softer. Like you're saying, like, oh, how did I ever do that? I did a jiu-jitsu tournament last weekend, and I cross-faced this guy, and I went, oh, sorry. And he went, it's okay. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. Like, man.
No, but Quinn, you've always been a nice guy, man. You've always been a nice guy. So it's not like, so I feel like you probably cross-faced me when we were still competing, and you were like, I'm sorry, bro. You know what I mean? You're just that guy. But, me, I'm still a jerk. The thing is, though, I did a jiu-jitsu competition a couple of months ago, and like I was just like, I'm just doing jiu-jitsu. It's like nothing. Like I got to cut a little bit of weight. It's nothing. I had no concerns, no cares whatsoever.
Oh, I don't cut weight anymore.
I mean, it was like literally like 3 pounds, right? So it was like just a workout, and I had no concerns. And then I get to the arena, and I'm still just chilling. Then it's like 2 hours until go time, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? I like panicking. I'm freaking out. And then like 20 minutes before it's time to go, I'm just like, I don't care. It was the weirdest thing in the world, man. I was terrified. And I have these dreams sometimes, man, when I'm going to corner somebody and all of a sudden I'm supposed to fight that week too. And I'm like,
oh my God, I have them same dreams. I have those dreams. I always have these dreams that I'm cutting weight for a fight, and I'm like, somebody get me out of it. I never make it.
Yes.
I don't make the weight. And they still want me to fight.
Yeah, but you never get to the fight, right? You always wake up before the fight.
Yeah, how bad do I suck that I don't make the weight and they still want to fight me?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've had that dream so many times, man. It sucks. It's crazy. It makes I wake up, my heart is just like boom, 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 boom. It's nuts. I feel anxious in those dreams.
I know. It's man. Ryan, do you have those dreams?
No, I've never had that dream. I've had fighter dreams. I've had fight dreams where I'm about to finish the guy and then I wake up. The finish never happens. But I've never had.
That wasn't a dream. That was your career.
Yeah, actually, that's no, like Yves, you're saying I'm a nice guy. It's like nice guys finish last, like, or not at all. You know, it's kind of story of my career.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, you always a nice guy in the room, Quinn.
So Yves, so your coaching career now, you got a stable of guys, and I know it's tough, man. It is tough because, and talking to you before, man, you talked about how hard you are on yourself with your guys. Have you gotten over that yet?
I feel like this last outing has kind of got me. I can't be hard on myself about it. I got to be harder on them. Even the ones I have the most confidence in, the ones I have the most faith in, I have to be harder on them because that's going to push them. I can't hand feed, I can't spoon feed these guys, man. I have to be tougher on them. I have to be harder on them, and I have to. Pressure makes gems. You know what I mean? So I have to put that on them and make them want it for themselves because all the feelings I've had. The only successful feeling I did not have is the belt strapped around my waist. You know what I mean? But I've also had all the devastating feelings. I've had the feeling of losing a fight because I was not in shape. I've had the feeling of losing a fight because a guy was just better than me. I had the feeling of losing a fight because I didn't pull the trigger, But I've also had the feeling of this guy can't touch me. I've demonstrated in some fights where these guys are. This guy has a strength, a part of the game, or multiple parts of the game that he's better than me. But I can make him play the part of the game where I'm better than him. So I've had both sides of it, and I want for them. I want all the good feelings, and for those good feelings, you have to be able to dig deep because those feelings are always literally after. When you're in there, it's like what you feel while you're in there it doesn't matter. If it's not a good feeling, it doesn't matter. Like if it's a positive, like reinforcing feeling, yeah, like ride that. But if it's not a good feeling, fuck it, bro. Suck it up and go. You can't. You don't want to be at the end of a fight and lose to a guy that you're technically better than and think, man, I could have done more. I could have done more. That's the worst. That's the most devastating feeling I think of all of them. To know that you lost in a fight that you could have won.
Yeah. So, Yves, I truly feel that this generation of fighters are the best generation of fighters because we have the best generation of coaches right now. Why is that? I feel like, our age of fighters, we had to learn a lot. We had to learn a lot outside our comfort zone. It's probably a little bit easier to coach it. Basically, it's very obvious that just through the fighters that you have at all the different UFC, Bellator, PFL, you do not have a cookie cutter style of coaching. You're able to coach the fighter to be the fighter they're supposed to be instead of the fighter you want them to be. Like, tell us about how you depict when you're going to pivot from what you want from what the fighter needs, or how you like, okay, this isn't my forte, but they need to be doing this. Am I rambling? Does that make sense? Like,
I feel like I understand your question, and like I don't have all the answers. I know I don't have all the answers, and a part of it was a part of the way I coach is I believe that a good leader is not the guy who has to be out front at all times. I think a good leader knows when to step back and let someone that's stronger in this department than he is take over. And so that's what I try to do. My Muay Thai coach, my partner, Chase Michael Corley, he is like, I'll defer to him for some of the striking. We came up under the same boxing regimen, and then he just put so much more effort and time into Muay Thai. So when it comes to striking, I defer to him. There's a lot that he comes back to me to check for, because his striking is kind of keyed in for Muay Thai, and there's a slight difference when you start doing MMA. But same thing with wrestling. I defer to wrestling coaches when it's time. I defer to my jiu-jitsu instructor. I have a kid on my team he's a brown belt, but his jiu-jitsu is that's like some next level type stuff,
Yep.
And there are times when I want him to lead the group because just the pointers and the tidbits that he gives and he shows. I mean, you can't be a coach and have nobody has all the answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I've always bounced around too. I like even at the end of my career when I was at American Top Team, I was at American Top Team for the end of my camp. But before that, I would go out to California and train with the McKees at the body shop.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to Wild Card Boxing to work on my hands and my footwork. So like mixed martial arts is now its own discipline.
Yep.
When we were coming up, it was just starting to become a discipline, but now it's established. Like there are different styles of mixed martial arts now. Mixed martial arts is the same, is the equivalent of a kung fu as far as being a martial art. There's a bunch of different styles of kung fu. There's a bunch of different styles of mixed martial arts now. And my style is one that's pretty eclectic. I've always been like, find the weakness in your opponent and exploit that, right? Which means you need to be able to do everything. You may not be the absolute best at it, but you have to be a jack of all trades. It's like the old saying, people always think a jack of all trades, the saying is like a bad thing, but no, it's like a jack of all trades, but a master of none is always better than a master of one. That's the full saying, and I look at it like that. You if you only have one mastery, and I could take that away from you, you're screwed.
So I'm going to flip it now. You just touched on it. I'm sure we're going to talk about this past weekend's fight later, but not necessarily the same technique, but I saw a lot of the same fight philosophy that Adrian Yanez have that you have. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Like, when do you know? Yeah, I'm going to leave the cliffhanger, but when do you know that you can impose yourself or some of your game plan or your philosophy or your technique into a fighter, but like not come off as I do it, you got to do it. Like when does that add up? When you try to get a fighter of yours to emulate something that you do?
Man, I don't necessarily try to do that. I don't think.
Okay.
I think I give these guys these options, and I show them the things that I like to use and things that I have done or would do in situations, and I try to give the explanation for it. And I think that's the best way that I get information across. You know what I mean? I remember a long time ago. I mean, you hear this all the time too. You don't really understand something unless you explain it to a 5-year-old.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about teaching. And people say I teach well. I appreciate that. I don't.
You do.
I'm just trying to get information into your head.
Mm-hmm.
So I use a lot of analogies, things like that.
Yep.
And sometimes they resonate. Sometimes they don't. Man, I really need to get somebody to like film my classes, because there are these moments, man, where I feel like that was a gem, and it happens not like super frequently, but frequently enough that I remember it. And there's sometimes I'm explaining the technique and I go through it and I'm just like, fuck, why isn't there somebody here to record that? You know, because I'm not going to be able to replicate that. But yeah, I think just being able to transfer information into somebody's head is I've been blessed with the opportunity and the ability to do that to a degree. I haven't perfected it yet, but I guess that's what coaching is, right? We're still evolving.
Right.
Still a learning process. So I do want to take it back. I know we got to let you go in a second, but just want to touch on this real quick, that Adrian Yanez fight, because when you were walking away, I was gutted for you. I really was. Because one, I know how hard you were probably going to take it and put the responsibility on yourself. And I'm glad you said it. You got to hold these guys accountable, because I don't know if you guys watched that fight back and looked at some of the things that he could have did differently. But to me, it came down to that last round where he just totally stopped fighting. And I don't know if he took how he took that. And so just real quick, like what was the room like afterwards, or if you guys watched it, what was the talk like? with you and him about that?
Yeah, it was just like he was telling me that he's feeling flat, and man, Adrian and I haven't sat down and had a conversation about that yet, and that's something that's coming up later this week. I want to go back and watch it with him and talk about a couple of things, but I don't I like to, for me, I like to let these guys be themselves right afterwards. Like I tell guys all the time, man, feel your feelings. Like I can't take that away from you, and there's nothing I can say to make that feel better. But you got to go through this feeling today. You what you feel right now, that's on you. You have to feel that. I'm here for you. If you want to talk, we can talk. If not, like we can be quiet. But like we're gonna talk about this later. But because I was over at Bellator, man, and this guy lost the fight. One of the guys who fought before Ralph, and he comes back in the locker room, and his coach is just berating him, and I'm just like this is a problem, And
yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, so it's like I can't do that, but I do want to, and also it's like immediately after the fight, that guy's feeling like when you lose a fight. We all know what it's like. We know what it's like to lose a fight and how you feeling then. You don't want like this information coming into you right there. It just kind of like touches the scut, the burn, right? You don't want that. So I like to leave these guys alone, let them feel that shit and get over it. But like the thing that we did talk about was he just felt flat and he just he felt like he couldn't pull the trigger. For me, I've been there and I know that feeling. And after the fact, this is what we were talking about before. When it's over and you lose a fight that you could have won, it's like you don't want to feel that. So I just like for me at this point, it's just like I don't care how you feel when you're in there. If you have the ability to do it, do it. Because once
how
it's
you
over,
feel is irrelevant. How you feel is irrelevant.
Exactly, 100%. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And that's an opportunity that we let slip away because we forfeited some opportunities.
Well, here's the thing: is that and this is what I do with Jillian. When she wins and she's feeling good, I tell her all the bad shit she did right away. When she loses, I give her a week, and even in that week, I put it on video and I depersonalize it, and it just comes down to the shit the technique was wrong. So it's not a matter of her being personalized about the shit. So it's the technique you did wrong. How could we have improved this technique? But when she wins, we in the back right now going, we got to work on this. We got to work on that. Because that's the time to do it. But for Adrian, that flat feeling. So here's the thing, man. That flat feeling it's ingrained in our DNA to fight, flight, or freeze. And that flat feeling is part of the freeze. He has to get over that. It's his body fighting that freeze response. He has to, and he's always going to feel it if he doesn't learn how to deal with that in a technical way. He's got to learn how to deal with that.
I like that. I appreciate that because that I could see the concept that you're explaining, and I fully resonate with that. So yeah, I can put that in words and kind of translate that to him too. I think so. Yeah, man, I appreciate that, and I like the little tip on the Jillian post fight analysis and what you do because I like that. I think doing that is going to help me too, man. I still picking up stuff from you, DT.
Well, because as a female, you got to be very delicate.
Yeah.
You can't make it personal to them. Like you got to really separate the fight from or how you feel about them because they take that shit personally. But I know you got to get to your class, man. We could do this all day. We got to get you back on more often and chop it up more often. If you guys haven't seen the movie, well, I know most of you haven't seen the movie yet. Our short film, me and Eve was in a short film called Brotherhood. We're still in this film festival circuit. When that comes out, we will make it known for everybody so that you can watch that. You'll be pleasantly surprised at what you see, I'm sure. But Eve, appreciate you as always. Hopefully,
good to see you, man. I still want my Thug Jitsu black belt. We'll figure that out one of these days. How I got to get it, but I'm gonna hold you to it.
Hey, give him a Thug Jitsu black eye. That's what he deserves.
No, he's giving me one or two of those already, so don't worry about it.
All right, my man. We'll catch up soon, man.
Later. Good to see you, man.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you guys talking, spend some time with me, and I missed you, man. DT, next time we're in the same town, let's for real spend some time together, man. Get some lunch.
Let's do it. I'm in.
All right, man. Love you, brothers.
Love you, man. Peace.
All right.
Yves Edwards,
So good to
ladies and
see
gentlemen.
Eve. So good.
Yeah.
So why don't we pick up where he left off when I was talking about the Adrian fight? So what I seen when I was talking about philosophy and not technique was Eve when he was fighting was so good. Like me, I was a fighter. I needed to impose my will, and if I couldn't impose my will, I was losing the fight. Yeah, I could make adjustments, but not like him. Like what Eves was good at was like fighting with the dance. Whatever the direction that the dance was going, he could fight with it. Case in point, the single leg takedown that he defended and threw a flying knee off of. Now we didn't see that with Adrian. However, he was so good with his boxing. He's coming in forward, trying to close distance with straight punches. And then Daniel would do a level change and then bam, uppercut, body shot. That's nice. You know, like that's tough to do. But as you're going forward, 1-2, then uppercut. Like so little things like that, how he could flow with it with his boxing. And just if you, I mean, I don't know, can that even be taught? Like, I mean, I guess it can be taught. You know, there's very specific drilling situations to put it in, but to really get it down, it takes a lot.
Well, everything can be taught. Like anything can be taught. I think anybody, you won't be good at everything. You can't be great at everything.
Yeah.
But you can be better than most people at almost anything if you're taught the right way. Because skill acquisition is a thing. Mo has a buddy named Lamar, and we did a show with him, like a fight party show with him, and he says he teaches learning. Like he teaches learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And skill acquisition is a real thing. Like just learning how to learn, like knowing how to learn is a real thing. So you can, like, all these things that fighters think, oh, you got to be born with it, da 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 da. When we say stuff like that, it's our ignorance. It's us not understanding why. It's us believing in Santa Claus. It's because we don't understand where the presents came from. So we think that you're born with it. But at the end of the day, there's always a reason behind everything. Like even Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was practically born with a golf club. Mm-hmm. Which is why he was so damn good. It wasn't that he was just born with the skill. He was born with a father who did golf, who had him on the golf course since before he could walk. So like anything can really be learned, I believe. You know, if you're willing to put the time in and you have a good teacher who could teach you the steps on how to get good at shit. So
how do I learn to be 6 foot?
Lifts. Yeah, some platform shoes.
Oh my God. My wife sent me those on Instagram. And she asked, do you want these? No.
Well, think about how much better Colby got at talking.
He learned. Yeah.
Right. Remember in the beginning when he first started his shtick, it was uncomfortable to watch him do it. It was uncomfortable. Yeah. It was uncomfortable. Yeah. He would always fall apart. And when people would hit him with something off the top of the dome, he didn't know how to respond because he was so used to it being written and pre-planned that when it was off the top, he didn't know. But now he's pretty damn good at it. I mean, he's good about coming back. He's still a douchebag, but he's good. He's a lot better at talking.
To your point, I feel like the most honest I've ever felt as a person is right after a fight. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like your adrenaline's flowing and stuff like that. And yeah, he's been better on the microphone in those situations. So yeah, I guess he has gotten better.
Has he come out with a response after this loss?
I saw a couple. I saw he thought he was starting to warm up. And then I saw that. Now I didn't hear him say. I saw the pictures. So it checks. He said that he wasn't training well because he was campaigning with Donald Trump. And now, like I said, I didn't hear any video. I just saw the pictures. But those are the responses I've seen so far.
That's crazy. What'd you think of the fight?
I thought it went the way we said it was going to go. We said it's going to go one of two ways, and it went the one way where Joaquin kept the volume up, and he kept the distance. He didn't have to keep the center, which was great that he knew that. He just kept the distance, and his takedown defense looked great. I thought, again, Colby doesn't transition like he used to anymore. Like he's not going double leg to single leg to striking. The eye, maybe, but I thought Joaquin had 1 or 2 full sprawls. not just cage defense. He had full sprawls while he was throwing combinations. So he looked good. And I thought he looked good. Now, is he going to get? I also liked what he did in his post fight. He didn't paint himself in a corner with the call out. He called out like 3 different people, and all 3 of those fights are possible. And all 3 of those fights fans are going to be happy for now. I like the Usman fight next. But is that going to happen?
He kind of did himself some justice by allowing the fans to do it, because it doesn't. And I'm sure Usman was the one he wanted anyway, but he allowed the fans to say it and do it. And I really like what Joaquin is doing these days, man. I really like his mentality, his attitude, his growth as a fighter, and he's on pace. He's on pace, and I don't know if he's ever going to get another opportunity to be on pace like this. So I'm hoping he makes the most of this little run that he's got going on, because it never really gets this good for a fighter.
Absolutely.
Like, to be on like a 6-fight winning streak, to still be positive, to be gaining fans, and just have this type of momentum. The final card of the year was main eventing. It was, man, what a good place to be in his career. So
I didn't even think of that. So we got a month with no UFC. So he's leaving an imprint on that UFC fan base's mind, because he's the last fight that they're going to remember. I didn't even think of that.
Yep. Although Cub Swanson may have stole the show, but still, goddamn Cub. I had a conversation with him today, and man, what a gentleman Cub Swanson is. Like, just a pure gentleman. And he said some things today that really, really kind of stuck to me about how, as a fighter, what he really cares about is his reputation, not necessarily his reputation, but how other fighters feel about him. And to me, I felt like that was special to hear, because a lot of fighters, especially in this generation, they want to talk about how much money they can make, how many followers they have, where's the after party, all these little frivolous and extraneous things that to me don't matter. But I'm not sure the Cub follows that. Cub is in a lane of his own right now. 41 years old, went out there and knocked out a guy in his hometown as the underdog. What a good place to be for Cub Swanson. So there's no more fights the rest of this year. So what are you going to do for the rest of the year?
Dude, I already told you I'm pumped about Global Fight League. I'm going to do as much info as I can about that. I already spoke to Darren Owen to get him on here, the CEO. I'm all about that team sport stuff, and this is like a perfect blend for me. But what else is going on? Is there any
Karate Combat is Thursday here in Miami.
Perfect. Maybe we'll talk about that next week too. I really liked. This is actually like, they do a really good job as this quote unquote off season. We're going to see a lot of pretty big fight announcements throughout quarter 2 with the next few weeks, and we could break all those down. It's a lot of fun. I guess that's it, man. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen the next couple of
I think that, I'm not sure when the UFC gets back. I think even they kind of close down for a little bit. They might get a week off in between the holidays, but I do think that when January hits and that Tuesday hits, when they get into their war room with Dana and Hunter and all the big wigs, when they start piecing together these matchups, you're right. We're going to see a lot of fun matchups in this first quarter, and that's going to be exciting to see. I know we think, like, for me, it's a good break. I don't mind this break because I'm off like everything I do. Like, I'm not doing Sirius XM. I'm not like this Karate Combat's the last show I'm doing for like a month. So I get a month to just kind of dick around and study and just train people. And I'm going to be traveling a little bit. I'm going to Philly next week. And so, yeah, it's I don't mind this little break. I think it's a good, not a reset, but it's just another perspective of the game for me.
Yeah, that's when we learn, right? When the downtime is, that's when we go outside our comfort zone, and that's great. So, that's great. You're traveling. Where else are you going? Philly? Where else?
Actually, I'm going to Philly, going to New York to do Matt Serra's podcast live. He got geeking out, So I'll do that, and then I might even hit Boston to hang out with Mark Delagrati. So that's my guy.
Oh man, I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Yeah. So that's my thing, man. Here's the truth, Ryan. Is that in life, and I'm 48 years old right now. I know I look like I'm in my 20s, but I'm 48. And what I know about life is that most people that you meet are shitheads. Yep. You don't want to do business with them. You don't want to be friends with them. You don't want to do business with them. And if you have somebody in your life that you like and they're cool, do what you got to do to see them and keep in touch. Because most people are shitheads. And we waste a lot of time playing around with shitheads, fielding and entertaining shithead fucking conversations and hanging around shitheads and doing shithead things. I'm eliminating all that stuff. So I'm only messing with the people I mess with.
I think that's a great way to go about it. That's why I think when we get older, our circle gets smaller. Like life's too short to be talking about shitty things, and it's, this is like, and you just, the energy in your head just changes when you're just with those good people, and you're just not, and then you separate yourself from that conversation about those shitheads, it's that's the way to do it. So I'm all about it. I support that. Tell Matt Serra I'm looking forward to joining him on Unfiltered sometime. And
I'll see if I can't get your plug. We used to have a plug over there, but our plug, man, he don't really be acting right these days.
Whatever. 2025 is Fight Court's where it's at. Anyway, we're gonna blow up. They're gonna see us. They're gonna who's this new podcast? I'm calling it.
That's right. So, and on that note, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. We love you. We appreciate you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And on that, this court is adjourned.